Alrighty, hello guys. Welcome in to another sports podcast. This week we got Week 16 NFL Power Rankings and Games. We are already up to 18 episodes into my inaugural season. You guys, I've been enjoying every bit of it. Thank you so much for stopping on by. You know what we do. My name, of course, is Big Nate, aka Always Triggered, and we're going to go ahead and get you right on through here with my Power Rankings, where I go 32-1 in my unique 3-segment style. It concludes with the top 10. I'm going to give you that Week 16 game slate. And then we're going to go right on over to the top 5 games of the week. Let's go ahead and get it started, guys, with that basement. At 32, I have the Jaguars. 31, the New York Jets. 30, the Detroit Lions. 29, the Carolina Panthers. 28, Seattle Seahawks. 27 is the Houston Texans. 26, New York Giants. 25, the Chicago Bears. 24 is the Falcons. 23 is the Washington Football Team. 22, the Cleveland Browns. And Team 21, the Denver Broncos. So a lot of teams in the NFL, guys, are over or at 500, and we see a couple of 500 teams at the top of the basement. We go ahead and flip it on over to my article view. By the way, guys, if you want to read about every single team, get to my article. There is a link in the description below. If you want to go ahead and read that, I'd appreciate it. I think you might like it. I've got some pretty good zingers in there. Let's take a look here at the basement. As mentioned, we've got a couple of 500 teams here. Of course, the Browns losing on the final seconds to the Raiders on a field goal kick, and then you had the Denver Broncos losing, getting their quarterback concussed in that game. It was a pretty tough injury to see for Teddy Bridgewater, and that dropped them down to 7-7. So in the AFC, which is very jam-packed, 7-7 really isn't going to cut it, and these teams don't have a lot of room. I would imagine that the Browns and the Broncos would have to win out and probably get additional help to make it into the playoffs. I think the Browns have a little bit of an easier path to the playoffs simply because they can still win their division. Everyone in the AFC North has either 7 or 8 wins. All right, of course, Washington losing 4 spots there, losing that game to Dallas. And you know what? Let's go ahead and jump right on over to the Fringe. So in the Fringe, we have at 20, we have the Dolphins. 19, the Steelers. 18 is the New Orleans Saints. 17, Las Vegas Raiders. 16 is the Philadelphia Eagles. 15 is the Minnesota Vikings. 14, Tennessee Titans. San Francisco 49ers at 13, and Baltimore Ravens at 12. And team number 11 is the LA Chargers. Biggest jumps here are those 7-slot jumps. We have a 7-slot decline by the Titans and a 7-spot jump up by the Saints. Let's go and talk about those two teams here. The Titans, of course, another game featured without their wide receivers. I am getting about as sick and tired of looking at the Titans offense without the likes of Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry. When those are the 3 biggest offensive players you have, and you're missing all of them, they look terrible. And I remembered what it looked like when all 3 of those guys were on the field. That memory is now a fleeting one. And the Titans, very much so, are not what they were several weeks ago. Can they get it back? Absolutely. They have a little bit of time here, and I am in the field that Derrick Henry can recover. I saw news on his injury, in the beginning of his injury, that this is something he could get better from. He comes back in the playoffs. They are a formidable team. They still have 9 wins. I'm not super low on them, but they sit at 14. The Saints, conversely, like I said, jumping up 7 spots. Dennis Allen, for me, deserves a lot of respect for what he did. Going 9-0 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa is phenomenal. Doing that as a acting coach when your coach is out with COVID. Props to Dennis Allen. I think that they did a great job there. Not too much else to talk about here in the Fringe. Of course, the teams at the top of the Fringe, very much so in the fight for the playoffs. If any of you guys are supporters of those teams, please let me know what you think about them. Like teams like the Saints, the Eagles, even the Raiders. Can the Raiders make a push? How do you guys see these teams maybe stacking up coming down the stretch? Let's go ahead and get into my top 10 teams heading into Week 16. At number 10, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. So they currently lead the AFC North, which is jam-packed. AFC North, each team has either 8 wins or 7 wins. They're currently the healthiest team, I believe, the Bengals. They have their quarterback, unlike Lamar, who's dinged up. And they are the more explosive team. It was very tough between the Ravens and the Bengals to pick who was going to be at the 10 spot. I went with the Bengals, and you guys will see in my next segment that we won't all have to wait very long before we can see for ourselves maybe who belongs over who. The AFC North. At number 9, Arizona Cardinals. So the Diop injury was definitely felt hard by the Arizona Cardinals this week. They dropped 4 spots here. Kyler Murray, by his standards, had one of his worst games out there. Definitely did not perform his best. He had one really ugly interception. They lost their lead in the NFC. Now they're at a 4-way tie with the other 10-win teams in the NFC, and they look worse than all the other three. So there they sit at number 9. Hopefully they didn't peak too early. They've got a couple of weeks to right the ship, but we'll find out. Number 8, Buffalo Bills. Gabe Davis had a great game out there, and they didn't play a perfect game by any stretch. So the Bills do have work to get done, and of course, this opponent that they're playing this week is not going to allow them any room for error. And speaking of that opponent, number 7, the New England Patriots. Mac Jones looked pretty rough out there. If you can stop the Patriots from running, you can really get under their skin and make them look really, really bad. I would imagine the Bills are going to try to focus on that, although remembering from the last time those two teams played, that didn't really go so well for Buffalo. Number 6, Indianapolis Colts, the team that just beat the Patriots. They have a locomotive out there, and his name is JT, and that boy's a beast, and he leads the league in rushing by 424 yards. That's right. Second place is over 400 yards behind JT with 3 weeks to go. Good luck catching that guy. Interesting to see the Colts at 8-6. They started out 3-5, guys, if you remember, and they are not anywhere near resembling what they looked like back when they were 3-5. This team is amazing. Following them on Hard Knocks has been a true joy, and they are one of the best teams in the AFC now after being 3-5. That is no small feat. Number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they took a big hit here, as if you didn't need any more to add on to that theory that if you're number 1 on my power rankings, you're pretty much going to get got. The Buccaneers are on their second wave now of injuries, losing Leonard Fournette, losing Godwin. Tom Brady really needs players, and he's brought in Lev Bell. I don't know if Lev Bell is the answer at running back. They're going to need a little more pop out of the running back position, but it is not looking all roses there for Tampa Bay right now. Can they get it back together? Sure. Any of these teams can. We still got a little bit of time here, guys. Number 4, the LA Rams. Rams are definitely starting to get in gear here. I think it took a little bit of time for Sean McVay to get Van Jefferson and Odell Beckham Jr. up to speed to how they're going to fill in with their route combinations with the loss of Bobby Trees. Now, the defense does seem to have lapses for the LA Rams. They are very, very good. They have a lot of talented players. So I believe the reason why sometimes the defense has these lapses is simply due to cohesion. When you have a lot of new additions like guys like Von Miller coming into the team, it's going to take a little bit of time for them to really get going. Number 3, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys continue to get takeaways. They lead the league with 31 takeaways now through 14 games. And their offense isn't humming on all cylinders. There's no denying that. But I do believe they'll get Tyron Smith back. The Dallas Cowboys, if their offense gets rolling, they're going to be a big problem for any team in the NFC. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, by far and away, are the best team in the AFC today. There's no denying it. They have 10 wins, and they just play simply way better than any other AFC team right now. The game they just played against the Chargers was practically a playoff game, and they showed exactly what they're made of and what kind of caliber team they are. And the number 1 team going into Week 16. Hopefully they're not cursed. If you're a Packers fan, I'm sorry. The Green Bay Packers. So now they lead the league with 11 wins, and they're going to lead my power rankings here. It's not a power standings, but they damn near have a MVP-type quarterback. 30 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. This guy's going absolutely nuts. Aaron Rodgers. He has the skills, and I've always said that. I'm not a big fan of him personally. I'm not a person who roots for him, but I do have the utmost respect. I think Aaron Rodgers might just be the most physically talented quarterback I've ever seen. When you put everything together, and I'm talking about physical skills plus brain power and style of play and leadership on the field, Aaron Rodgers is an alpha, no doubt. Interesting to see these teams here at the top, 4 out of the 5 teams being NFC teams. Thinking about all the different variations of NFC championship games, I would love to see like a Green Bay Packers Dallas Cowboys championship game. I think that would just be epic. We see like a Cowboys 49ers playoff game. These kinds of things are starting to kind of form with this playoff picture, and I probably will have a playoff picture for us starting next week. I think would be a good week to go ahead and get that going. All right, let's go ahead and move it right along here to my game slate. You know how we always do, get you started off on Thursday. You got that Thursday night game, San Francisco at Tennessee at 8:20. On Saturday, we've got a pair of games here where the home teams that were scheduled for last Saturday are now on the road. So you got Cleveland going to Green Bay at 4:30. You got Indianapolis going to Arizona at 8:20. On Sunday, the 1 p.m. slate features Detroit at Atlanta, Baltimore at Cincinnati, the Rams at Minnesota, Buffalo at New England, Jacksonville at the Jets, New York Giants at Philadelphia, Tampa Bay at Carolina, and the Chargers at Houston. 405 features the Bears and Seahawks, and you've got 425, a pair of games there, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Denver at the Raiders, and the 8:20 game is Washington, Dallas. You know I'll be paying attention to that one for sure. Monday's game is Miami at New Orleans. So we'll go ahead and leave that up here just for an extra second, and we'll go ahead and get rolling right into my top 5 games for Week 16. At number 5, Browns and Packers. So this is a Saturday game, guys, as I mentioned. I'm very much interested in watching this one. I know that it's going to be out there at Lambeau, very kind of physical type of game. The Browns are a very running style team. I believe they're going to get some of their players back, and this should be a good one here. A couple of interconference matchups here in the top 5 games of the week. Number 4, Colts and Cardinals. So there you go. The Colts red hot in the AFC, one of the best teams there. The Cardinals, of course, in that 4-way tie at 10 wins, playing at home. This game is going to be fireworks. Number 3, 49ers and Titans. That's your Thursday night game there for you guys. That one's going to be a really, really good one. You got an 8-6 team versus a 9-5 team. These teams, of course, as you saw, very close in my power rankings. Don't know who's going to win this one, and it's going to be a real big shakeup in the playoff positioning, depending on how this game turns out. Number 2, Ravens and Bengals. You know you got to hit it with that AFC North divisional showdown. One of these teams is going to end up with 9 wins and leading the AFC North going down the final 2 games. Yeah, I mean, do you really need to say anything more? Number 1, for the second time in the month, Bills and Patriots. Here we go, round 2. AFC East, it's all on the line there. So these 2 divisional games, of course, rounding out the top 5 games of the week, and for good reason. I mean, you really can't go wrong at 1 p.m. on Sunday. I'm going to be flipping between these 2 games the most. There's no denying that. Patriots right now, just so you guys know, in Foxborough, the weather is calling for snow on Saturday and rain and snow in the morning of Sunday. I know all the Patriots fans and faithful are going to be rooting for as much rain and snow and wind as possible to try to remake that game they had up in Buffalo earlier this month. The Bills, I don't expect them to have a similar performance like they did last time. I think it's going to be a much closer game. Guys, let me know who you think is going to win that game, the Bills-Patriots game. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are simply the best. All my family and friends, much love to you guys, really supporting me through this whole season. I can't thank you enough. I'm so happy to make all these videos. I love talking about football. Enjoy the games. Be safe. Peace.